Hello everyone, welcome back to another Charlton video. As always, we do have a lot to talk about this week, including stuff to do with transfers, that's both outgoings and potential incomings and players that we're interested in, and also reflecting on the 5 games that we played in a week, which is quite crazy, the pre-season regime that's going on at the moment. Yeah, reflecting on some of that, seeing who impressed and whatnot, and you know how that's panned out for us, and also looking forward to the games against, I think, Norwich and is it Ipswich, someone like that. And also, just before we start, I just want to say thank you everyone for all the support and likes and subscribers and everything that we've been getting. We did hit 700 again, another milestone this week, so that's really good. Thank you very much for that. Make sure if you are enjoying the video, you do leave a like, you do subscribe down below, and without further ado, let's crack on with the stuff. So first of all, we have just played 5 games in the space of a week, which, as I just said, is pretty crazy. 2 of those were on the same day, just on Saturday against Welling and against Greenwich Borough, which we fielded 2 completely different sides. I didn't go to the games. Seb was there. I wasn't there. Were you there? Let me know down in the comments if you went to those games and what you thought of our performances. Were we looking any better than we were last season, sort of tactically, or was it just, do you think still the main priority was still fitness? But 2 players that did impress, I believe, as far as what I've heard. I did watch them on streams and listen to them and followed all the sort of updates about them, and also I've researched and read a lot of what people were saying about these games. Ceballos and Sarr were 2 players that were probably once considered to be flop signings by Catherine Mayer, especially Sarr on his sort of 5-year deal. Came under a lot of criticism on his first season when we were in a championship. He looked alright. I mean, he didn't look brilliant, he just looked decent, but Ceballos does look like at times he's different gravy, like he could be playing for maybe, you know, not necessarily a higher level in England, but maybe in a foreign league or something. At times I think he does look weak. You know, he tries to draw fouls and he can get knocked off the ball easily, and he sort of looks to the ref and nothing doing. But also, equally at times, he does look like he's just an unbelievable flair player. He's got skills for days. He's got a shot on him. We all remember that corner that he famously took that he's just pretty much renowned for at Charlton now. But I think this pre-season has taught us one thing, that he could potentially be a very, very talented little player for us if we decide to keep him, if we can keep him, and if he wants to stay. So still a lot of factors around that, but we'll talk more about the transfers and all that kind of stuff later. Naby Sarr is also a player who we may keep now. Robinson was interviewed about who we may or may not keep, and he didn't come to a particular conclusion about Sarr and Ceballos yet, so it completely depends on a lot of other factors. But the main thing is, you know, don't read too much into these results, because the main priority here was, in my opinion, fitness. You know, Robinson said that before, he said it after. You know, we played 3 games in 3 days. One of them we won 5-0 and another one we lost 4-1. So, you know, you can't really, and there were all sorts of different players filled in different positions, and the main priority essentially seemed to be fitness. So it was nice to see a few players score some goals. Grant scored a lovely goal. He's sort of a fringe player, a youth player that's sort of breaking through. You can imagine him coming off the bench a few times, getting a few cup games, and his finish was really good. He does look really lively. A lot of people have criticised him for not having much of an end product, but in my opinion, he is looking better. He's only 19 years old, you've got to bear in mind, and he is looking better and better, you know, than he was before, at least when he made his debut when he was sort of 17, 18. Back to the Ceballos issue, we do currently have, if you consider, I was about to say Graham Stewart, Cameron Stewart is his name. We do currently have 5 wingers if you include him, because we obviously have Marshall, Holmes, Fosu, Stewart on trial, and Ceballos in the club. Now, will Mayer and, you know, the powers that be let Robinson keep 5 wingers, especially with the likes of Grant, I don't know how to say that first bit of his name, it always catches me out. And, you know, Michael Kennedy and players like that coming through. Will we be able to have 5 first-team wingers on our wage book? In my opinion, probably not, so we might let one of them go and keep one. We might even let them both go, but ideally, we would like to keep both of those, but then where do they all fit into our system? You know, Robinson has said that wingers are a big part of our game this season, but, you know, to what extent he follows through with that and keeps 5 wingers, you know, you have to wait and see. So, yeah, like I said, Ceballos looks like he could play higher. I personally hope that we get Stewart, and then Stewart becomes a sort of player that comes off the bench, because Robinson has admitted that his fitness is nowhere near the levels it needs to be. Let's sign him on a, you know, a 6-month contract or a 1-year contract and see how he does. Depends how what wages he's expecting and stuff. Talking about wages, one thing that has happened this week and is confirmed is that Jorge Teixeira has left the club to, you know, people are saying that he's off our wage books. Now, he's gone to St Trudin, which obviously is a club that's owned by Du Châtelet. So is he off our wage books? I understand that clubs all have, you know, independent wage structures and whatever else. Is he really off our wage books when basically his wages are going out, you know, back into Roland's pockets and then out of Roland's pocket again to, you know, pay for his wages at St Trudin? All a bit bizarre. You still can't quite shake those sort of negative happenings that are occurring off the back of being owned by these Belgian twats. But, you know, it's not too bad considering that for our independent football club structure, we do have some wages off the books, what might free up some more players to come in. Naby Sarr is one of 5 centre-backs at the club at the moment, so we had 6 centre-backs, we now have 5. Harry Lennon, I haven't seen him at all this pre-season. I think he's still injured. Not entirely sure, I haven't seen too many updates what's happening with him, but we could be going into the season, if Sarr leaves, potentially with 3 fit centre-backs. Last season, we went in with Conser and Roger Johnson starting. We don't want something similar to that. So, you know, we got to make sure that we do the right things in regards to our centre-backs and don't let too many go. And if Sarr stays, I think for the fans, we can't get on his back. He's young. He does look strong at times, but he is prone to a mistake. But let's not get on his back. You know, if he does stay, he could be a decent player. He's still young. He just is representative of all the mistakes that were made by the regime, and you know that's always going to be a cloud that hovers over him, and people are always going to be hypercritical of him. But let's just see if he can do anything, if he does turn out to stay at Charlton, if he doesn't go on loan or if he doesn't leave permanently. Nicky Ajose, oh, this one hurt me a little bit. I kind of expected it, but he did leave on loan to Bury, who are in our league, so to a competitor maybe. I don't know how competitive they're going to be this season. I think they've made a couple of good signings, so they might be in that sort of top 12. He's left our only sort of proven goal scorer that's had a period of being prolific throughout his career at any stage. We've been left with Tony Watt, with McGuinness, with Novak, and with potentially Mavadidi, and then youngsters like Hanlon. And I don't think I've left anyone out there. You know, Clark maybe, if you consider him. Youngsters like Hanlon and Ahern Grant, none of which have been prolific, so where are our goals going to come from? I appreciate we have signed players like Marshall, players like, you know, Holmes we've tied up, and there are going to be goals, or 10 goals here and there coming from some of our forward players, but do we have that sort of 20, 30 goal a season player like we had with Bradley Wright Phillips? Like other, you know, Peterborough, our competitors have signed players like, is it Ricky Miller? You know, Will Grigg for Wigan. He is on fire and he scores goals. And do Charlton have that? I believe that Tony Watt is supposedly going to be that guy. Like, he's meant to be the guy that scores all the goals for us. But with his fitness and things, I don't know if he's going to be able to be around for that long, be around for that many games. And is he going to be able to convert? He hasn't proven it at the age of 23. So it's a bit of a risky business with our strikers. And if Mavadidi is the only player that comes in, is that going to be enough for us up front? I'm not so sure. But I wonder what you guys think, so make sure you leave a comment about our striker situation, and do you think we need to sign another prolific striker? Because we don't want to get to the point where our only fit striker is Novak, and you know, we got Johnny Jackson playing at left back, for example. That is just everything that we already knew that we didn't want to happen this season, and it's kind of heading a little bit that way because no deals have been done for a while now. But I forgot actually, I was meant to make a little disclaimer at the beginning of this video that today could potentially be a very, very busy day for Charlton. You know, Stewart was meant to be confirmed today if he's staying with us. The club will know that today. Whether we know that, I don't know. I do have the Charlton Twitter account open right here. There's been nothing so far. I'm recording this at sort of 2:30, 3 o'clock, so if anything that I mentioned in this video has changed by the time it's edited and uploaded tonight, I do apologise. But yeah, some more interest to report now. So Ajose and Texera have left. Not surprising, but disappointing because they were both very, very good players. But part of this whole Robinson change, I don't mind it, but the striker situation, as I just did say, is worrying me a little bit. However, we are interested now in 2 players that we might potentially bring on loan. That is Jed Steer, the 24-year-old goalkeeper from Aston Villa. This is his record. It looks okay. He's played, for a young keeper, he's played a bit of first-team football in, you know, League One, and I think the Championship a little bit as well. So it wouldn't be a bad signing. I'm a little bit concerned that we didn't get Martin permanently and that we are potentially going to get this guy on loan, because another loan deal that might happen is Scott Golbourne, who is a 29-year-old left-back. I like the fact that he's a slightly more mature left back because, you know, going in with Page and De Silva, who are 20 and 19 respectively, is a little bit worrying defensively. So to have a sort of youngster and Golbourne, who's 29, might be a bit more of a sort of balanced left back. A shame, obviously, that we let Chickson go, but it is what it is, and, you know, he's gone, and we have to consider that maybe our primary target for the left back position, Jay De Silva. He just won the under-19 Euros. It's been reported that he's potentially drawn interest from some clubs in the Championship, and that's why we might not be able to get our hands on him. That's when Golbourne comes into the equation, because he's essentially our B target, as far as I understand. Same with Steer. You know, Martin was our A target, Steer's our B target. So to get a couple of B targets, sometimes you have to accept it as a football club in a transfer window. Could turn out that they're better than our A targets. We still don't know exactly whether Martin is going to come, whether De Silva's going to come, but Steer and Golbourne have emerged as confirmed transfer targets for us. So I wonder what you'd think of them over, you know, Steer over Martin. Who would you rather have? And De Silva or Golbourne, who would you rather have? Golbourne's record, he's played a lot of professional football. He seems to be at the moment at his childhood club, Bristol City. So to come to us would be coming away from that. Would he be happy? Does he want to play for us? I'm not sure. We know De Silva is very hungry as a young player, as we saw last year. So I haven't decided what I think about that quite yet. And yeah, like I said, Motherboard is still ongoing potentially. Still haven't heard anything about Ben Reeves. So, you know, there was a little bit of news that emerged from that. Not really news, but Robinson basically said all he's got to say about Ben Reeves. He's a massive admirer. He thinks he's a great player, but he didn't necessarily say anything about whether he's going to be coming to us or not. Hope that does get sorted very, very soon, because Reeves is going to be a big, big signing for us. One of the, if we get him permanently, he's a big player going forward. You know, we are in a better position than last year with signing some of these young permanent players like Fosu, like Forster Kaski. Kashi back, you know, he hasn't gone. We're looking better than we were last season in my opinion, but we still need to, you know, leave off of some of these loans. It looks like we might be going into the season now with 3 loans: the keeper, Mavadidi and the left back, and then nothing on a right back so far that I've heard. Hodson's dried up, that rumour, completely. As far as I'm aware, it might happen. You don't know. You can never be too sure with these kind of things. But Aaron Barnes is getting a lot of coverage from the Charlton Twitter account, social media. It looks like what we talked about a little while ago, that Aaron Barnes is looking increasingly likely to be the backup right back, potentially even the first team right back, and get a few appearances under his belt this season. I'm just a little bit concerned that we're relying too much on youngsters, and that our squad is looking a bit thin. Not as thin as it was last season, but only slightly more sort of packed out than it was last season. But we finished 13th last season. We were kind of lucky to do so. So we don't need to improve a little bit from 13th, from what our squad was like when we finished 13th. We need to improve a lot. And at the moment, I'm only seeing a little bit of improvement. So hopefully, we can get a lot more deals done. You know, 2, 3, 4 even more players. A prolific striker would be lovely. A left back, whether it's De Silva, I understand if we can't get him, or whether it's Golbourne or someone else. A right back ideally, and also Ben Reeves, and, you know, get a winger, you know, whether it's Ceballos or whether it's Stewart or whether it's both of them, fingers crossed. We need that confirmed so that we know as fans how we're going into this new season, what we're going to look like, and all that kind of stuff. So that's pretty much it for the news this week. Keep your bow peepers peeled for all the stuff that might potentially happen this week. And just as a little final note, the Charlton merchandise, you know, the shirt still hasn't been released. So if you do want to get your hands on a little bit of Charlton merch before the new season, a Charlton shirt, some of the retro stuff that's on Amazon is still available that I spoke about in the last episode. So you can get your hands on that still. Links are all in the description. So yeah, thank you very much for watching, guys. Make sure you leave a like, make sure you subscribe, and stay tuned for some more Charlton news next week. Maybe even later this week I might put up a little video. So yeah, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you later. Click on this video if you want to have a laugh.